I want to provide an update on the coronavirus and its potential impact on abrupt rise in global average temperature. Today is February 27th, 2020, and I last provided an update on January 28th, 2020. You can find that at guymcpherson.com or on the Nature Bats Last YouTube channel. I've seen a couple of figures. The highest figure I've seen for industrial activity in China as a proportion of the global industrial activity is 40%. That seems a little high to me, but let's assume the precautionary principle and go with Chinese industrial activity is 40% of the global total. I've also seen numbers as high as a 60% decline in Chinese industrial activity. Well, if we multiply that 40% by that 60%, then we get 24% of a decline in industrial activity. If indeed China comprises about 40% of industrial activity, and also there's been a 60% decline in China's industrial activity, that takes us to a 24% decline globally in industrial activity, emissions, and also aerosols. So if there has been that sort of decline, then we're looking at a 24% decline in industrial activity in those aerosols, and so we should see in a matter of days or a few weeks an abrupt global average temperature rise. That 24% figure is consistent with the refereed journal literature and also follow-up interviews, most notably with Rosenfeld, based on his and his colleagues' paper in Science in February of 2018. So if indeed we're headed for a 24% decline in industrial activity, then that tells me that we will experience a global average temperature rise of 1 degree Celsius in a matter of a couple of weeks, a few weeks in any event. So if those numbers are accurate, this leads to a global average temperature rise of 1 degree C. We're about 1 3/4 degrees C above the 1750 baseline. So an additional 1 degree C in a matter of weeks would be absolutely catastrophic. It's difficult for me to imagine very many species surviving that abrupt rise in temperature for very long, and most notably Homo sapiens, our own species, and our ability to survive that global average temperature rise. If those numbers are correct, then I would say by November 1st, plus or minus a few months, we will be out of habitat for our species, for Homo sapiens. I'm not certain those numbers are correct. They seem a little high to me, and I've seen a lot of numbers floating around the internet. But if we assume the precautionary principle and therefore assume those high numbers with respect to industrial activity in China and with respect to China's contribution to total industrial activity, then we are headed for a habitat losing proposition for Homo sapiens. At the edge of extinction, only love remains, and we're at the edge.